A massive freighter disappears in Lake Superior. No storm warning, no distress call, and all 29 crew members are lost. How could a ship this large, built to withstand the harshest conditions of the Great Lakes, vanish so suddenly? What really happened on that cold November night in 1975? Tonight, we're diving deep into the mysterious sinking of the SS Edmund Fitzgerald, one of the most baffling maritime tragedies in modern history. We'll explore not only the events that led to its disappearance, but also the theories, investigations, and unanswered questions that continue to haunt this story. Was it a simple accident, a freak wave, or a catastrophic failure no one could have predicted? Or could there be something more sinister behind the loss of this mighty vessel? Fitzgerald didn't send a distress call. There were no survivors to tell the tale. No nearby ships reported a direct collision. No storm raged with such fury to make sense of its sinking. And yet, in the span of mere hours, this massive ship carrying tons of iron ore slipped beneath the icy waters of Lake Superior. As we piece together the story of the Edmund Fitzgerald, we'll examine the strange, rapid sinking, the possible human errors, and the environmental forces at play. Could nature alone be blamed, or did a series of small mistakes, hidden flaws, or unforeseen circumstances seal the fate of the crew? By the end of this journey, you may find yourself questioning everything you thought you knew about shipwrecks, storms, and the unforgiving power of the Great Lakes. This is not just a story of loss, it's a story of mystery, intrigue, and the unknown forces that can turn a routine voyage into a legend. Background of the ship. The SS Edmund Fitzgerald was a giant among freighters, the largest ship ever to sail the Great Lakes at the time of its launch. Built in 1958 by the Great Lakes Engineering Works in River Rouge, Michigan, it was purpose-designed to carry massive loads of iron ore from the mines of Minnesota to the steel mills of Detroit and other industrial ports. The Fitzgerald represented the pinnacle of Great Lakes shipping engineering, combining size, speed, and durability in a single vessel. Its sheer scale made it a marvel of its time, and its reputation for reliability earned the respect of sailors and dockworkers alike. The ship was powered by a massive steam turbine engine capable of driving it at 16 knots, and it could carry more than 26,000 tons of iron ore per voyage. The crew consisted of 29 men, each responsible for operating, navigating, and maintaining this floating industrial giant. Its massive cargo holds were designed to protect the ore from the harsh elements of the Great Lakes, and its hull was reinforced to withstand the punishing conditions often encountered in late autumn storms. Despite its size, the Fitzgerald was known for its maneuverability and efficiency, making it a workhorse of the shipping industry for nearly 2 decades. Throughout its years of service, the Edmund Fitzgerald had a reputation as a sturdy and reliable vessel. Its voyages were often long and challenging, traversing the cold, deep waters of Lake Superior, known for sudden weather changes and violent storms. The ship had survived numerous gales, and its crews trusted in its engineering to keep them safe. Despite occasional minor mishaps typical of freighters of its size, there were no major incidents that foreshadowed the catastrophic events to come. Its track record was a testament to the skill of its crews and the reliability of its construction. Lake Superior itself was a character in the story of Fitzgerald, as unpredictable as it was vast. November, in particular, brought treacherous conditions, sudden storms, freezing temperatures, and waves that could rise unexpectedly to heights capable of overwhelming even the largest freighters. Sailors of the Great Lakes were always aware that one miscalculation or one unlucky wave could mean disaster, but the Fitzgerald had weathered many such challenges before. On November 10, 1975, however, this reputation would be put to the ultimate test. On that fateful day, the ship set out on a routine voyage, carrying its full load of iron ore from Superior, Wisconsin, bound for Detroit, never to reach its destination. Edmund Fitzgerald's story is one of human ingenuity meeting nature's power, a giant vessel navigating a giant lake with skill and experience. Yet, even the strongest ships can face forces beyond calculation, and the events of November 10th would mark a turning point, transforming the Fitzgerald from a symbol of industrial might into one of the most enduring maritime mysteries of the Great Lakes. The final voyage. On the morning of November 9, 1975, the SS Edmund Fitzgerald set out from the port of Superior, Wisconsin, carrying a full load of iron ore destined for the steel mills of Detroit. The route across Lake Superior was well known to its crew, a path they had navigated countless times before. The voyage itself was routine, passing the rugged shoreline of Michigan's Upper Peninsula and heading toward the Soo Locks at Sault Ste. Marie. Despite being late autumn, the Fitzgerald's crew was confident in their experience and the ship's capabilities. Weather reports on that day had indicated the presence of a developing gale over the western Lake Superior region. While not a hurricane or an unprecedented storm, the forecasts warned of strong winds exceeding 50 knots and waves rising over 25 feet. Mariners were familiar with these conditions, and the Fitzgerald was built to handle rough waters. Nonetheless, the storm would prove to be more challenging than anticipated. Other vessels in the area, such as the Arthur M. Anderson, reported heavy swells and driving snow, yet remained operational, highlighting the unusual and selective nature of the disaster that awaited the Fitzgerald. Throughout the morning and into the afternoon, the Fitzgerald maintained routine communications with the Soo Locks and nearby ships. Radio contact was normal, with the crew reporting course and cargo updates. The standard protocol called for regular position updates, and the vessel adhered to these practices. However, after its last known message around 7:10 p.m., Fitzgerald fell silent. No distress call was ever sent, leaving authorities and fellow mariners in the dark about the vessel's condition. This absence of communication is one of the most perplexing elements of the tragedy. As the storm intensified, Arthur M. Anderson, traveling nearby, reported seeing Fitzgerald struggle against the rising waves. By this point, the wind had grown stronger and snow reduced visibility, but the Fitzgerald had vanished from sight. Mariners later recounted that conditions were severe but not extreme compared to other storms that the Great Lakes often produced. The ship's sudden disappearance in the face of a manageable gale created immediate concern, marking the beginning of one of the most mysterious shipwrecks in maritime history. Chronologically, the final hours of the Fitzgerald remain speculative but chillingly plausible. The ship was likely overwhelmed by waves crashing over its deck, possibly combined with water entering the cargo holds. Structural stresses, combined with the weight of the iron ore, may have caused the vessel to lose buoyancy rapidly. By the time the storm reached its peak in the evening, the Fitzgerald had disappeared beneath the icy waters. The absence of survivors and the lack of a distress call meant that the exact sequence of events would remain unknown, leaving investigators and historians to piece together the tragedy from the limited evidence available. Nearby ships survived the storm, navigating the same waves that claimed the Fitzgerald. This contrast underscores the uniqueness of its sinking and adds to the enduring mystery. Why did a ship renowned for its sturdiness fail where others succeeded? Was it a combination of factors, or was there a single critical event that caused the vessel to founder? The enigmatic nature of the final voyage has captivated researchers, storytellers, and the public for decades, cementing the Edmund Fitzgerald as a symbol of the unpredictable power of the Great Lakes. By the time the storm hit its full force, the Fitzgerald had vanished. The massive freighter that had traversed the lakes with confidence for nearly 2 decades now lay beneath hundreds of feet of water, carrying its 29 crew members into history as one of the most puzzling maritime losses of the 20th century. The final voyage of the Edmund Fitzgerald is a story of skill, preparation, and the unforgiving reality of nature, a narrative that continues to challenge our understanding of how even the most capable vessels can be overwhelmed. What went wrong? The first theory investigators examined after the disappearance of the Edmund Fitzgerald focused on flooding and the ship's hatch covers. Iron ore freighters like the Fitzgerald were designed to carry massive quantities of dense cargo in large holds. These holds were covered by heavy steel hatch covers intended to keep water out even in rough seas. If the hatch covers failed, however, waves could pour directly into the cargo holds, rapidly compromising the vessel's stability. Investigators found that the Fitzgerald was riding low in the water that day, a condition known as low freeboard, making it especially vulnerable to waves washing over the deck. Water entering the holds would add immense weight to the ship's already heavy iron ore cargo, causing the vessel to lose buoyancy quickly. Evidence suggested that some hatch covers may have been improperly secured or worn, a maintenance issue that could allow even moderate waves to flood the holds. In combination with the gale conditions of Lake Superior, this made the Fitzgerald highly susceptible to sudden sinking. The US Coast Guard's report on the sinking offers detailed findings and diagrams illustrating how water ingress may have occurred. But the real mystery was not just the water. Fitzgerald's structural integrity may also have played a crucial role in its fate. Over years of service, even the sturdiest vessels developed stresses in their hulls. Metal fatigue, microscopic cracks, or minor damage from previous voyages could compromise the hull under extreme conditions. Some experts suggest that the Fitzgerald may have struck a shoal near Caribou Island, a possibility supported by sonar mapping and analysis of the wreck's final resting place. Striking a shallow underwater obstruction could have breached the hull, allowing water to flood the cargo holds faster than anticipated. Naval architects and Coast Guard analysts have debated this theory extensively, examining both the ship's blueprints and the recovered debris. Even minor structural weaknesses could turn waves that other ships survived into a deadly threat for the Fitzgerald. Environmental factors on Lake Superior that day also compounded the danger. The region is notorious for November gales, sudden and fierce storms that whip up the largest of the Great Lakes with little warning. Winds from the southwest collided with the lake's long fetch, producing waves that could easily exceed 25 feet. Currents in the western part of Lake Superior added unpredictable motion, further destabilizing a vessel already burdened with heavy cargo and potential structural weaknesses. Even though the storm was not an unprecedented event by Great Lakes standards, the combination of high winds, steep waves, and freezing spray could rapidly compromise the ship's buoyancy. Experts believe that a sequence of high waves striking the vessel, coupled with water entering through the hatch covers and possibly weakened structural points, could have caused the Fitzgerald to sink faster than anyone could respond. The fact that nearby vessels survived similar conditions only adds to the mystery, suggesting a perfect storm of unfortunate factors that targeted the Fitzgerald uniquely. The interplay between these three factors, flooding from compromised hatch covers, structural vulnerabilities, and extreme environmental conditions, paints a picture of how a seemingly routine voyage became catastrophic. The ship's rapid disappearance, with no distress signal sent, indicates that the sinking may have occurred within minutes, leaving the crew no time to react. Despite advances in maritime safety, the exact combination of failures that doomed the Fitzgerald remains debated. Investigators could only speculate based on sonar images, recovered artifacts, and historical weather data. The notion that a giant freighter designed to withstand the harshest conditions of the Great Lakes could be claimed by the water so quickly continues to intrigue maritime historians and engineers. Another haunting aspect of the sinking is that while the Fitzgerald succumbed, nearby ships navigating the same storm survived. This stark contrast suggests that small differences, perhaps an angle of approach to the waves, a slightly damaged hatch cover, or minor unseen structural weaknesses may have determined life or death. It demonstrates how, even on well-charted waters, nature and circumstance can combine in unpredictable ways, leaving only mystery in the wake of tragedy. The ship's sinking illustrates how multiple factors can converge in rare, catastrophic moments that defy simple explanation. In the end, the question remains, what truly sank Edmund Fitzgerald? Was it the relentless waves exploiting weaknesses in the ship's design? Did a minor collision with a shoal trigger the disaster, or was it the storm itself, pushing the vessel beyond its limits? While modern research has illuminated many contributing factors, the exact sequence of events during those final hours will likely never be known. The mystery persists, leaving the Fitzgerald not just as a shipwreck, but as a haunting symbol of the unpredictable power of the Great Lakes, a reminder that even the most carefully engineered vessels can be overtaken by circumstances beyond human control. The mystery deepens. The disappearance of Edmund Fitzgerald has remained one of the most enduring maritime mysteries of the 20th century. Unlike many shipwrecks, where survivors can recount the moments leading up to disaster or distress calls and provide a timeline of events, the Fitzgerald offered no such clarity. All 29 crew members were lost, and the ship sank so suddenly that no radio messages signaled trouble. Investigators and historians have had to rely on circumstantial evidence, wreckage analysis, and eyewitness accounts from nearby ships to reconstruct the final hours. This absence of direct testimony has created a void filled by speculation, debate, and fascination, making the Fitzgerald a uniquely enigmatic case. Comparing the Fitzgerald to other maritime disasters highlights why it remains so mysterious. Many ships lost at sea are victims of violent storms, collisions, or known mechanical failures. For example, the SS Eastland capsized in the Chicago River due to stability issues in calm conditions, while the Andrea Doria collided with another ship off Nantucket. The Fitzgerald, however, sank in what was considered a manageable gale by Great Lakes standards, while nearby ships endured the same storm without catastrophic loss. This raises the question, why did this particular vessel succumb when others did not? The contrast emphasizes the unusual nature of the Fitzgerald sinking and has fueled decades of investigation and speculation. Human factors have also been suggested as possible contributors to the disaster. Navigational errors or misjudgments in positioning, especially near shoals or shallow areas, could have compounded the effects of the storm. Some theories propose that the crew may have underestimated the severity of the gale or overestimated the ship's resilience in rough waters. While no evidence points to negligence, the combination of human decision-making under pressure and the unforgiving environment of Lake Superior may have created conditions that proved fatal. Folklore and maritime legend have further amplified the mystery, with stories of ghost waves and the lake's unpredictable temperament adding to the ship's mystique. The cultural impact of Edmund Fitzgerald has been profound, transforming the tragedy into a symbol of the Great Lakes' power and danger. Canadian singer-songwriter Gordon Lightfoot immortalized the ship in his ballad, The Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald, bringing worldwide attention to the event and capturing the haunting nature of its loss. Documentaries and books have explored the sinking, examining every possible explanation and keeping the story alive for new generations. Memorials, including the Whitefish Point Shipwreck Museum, honor the crew and educate visitors about the dangers faced by Great Lakes sailors. These cultural expressions ensure that the memory of Fitzgerald is preserved not just as a historical fact, but as a story that continues to resonate. Even decades later, Edmund Fitzgerald continues to captivate the imagination of historians, sailors, and the general public. The combination of sudden disappearance, total loss of life, and unresolved questions makes it a uniquely compelling story. Each investigation sheds light on some aspects while leaving others shrouded in mystery, reinforcing the sense that Lake Superior still holds secrets that may never be fully revealed. Fitzgerald's tale serves as a reminder of the unpredictable power of nature, the potential consequences of small errors, and the enduring human fascination with the unknown. The mystery of Edmund Fitzgerald is more than a tale of a ship lost at sea. It is a story of courage, resilience, and the thin line between human skill and nature's overwhelming force. As songs are sung, documentaries produced, and memorials visited, the legend of Fitzgerald endures, inviting new generations to ask the same questions that have puzzled historians for nearly half a century. By examining what we know and acknowledging what remains unknown, the story of the Fitzgerald continues to inspire awe, respect, and fascination for one of the most mysterious maritime tragedies in history.